Well, welcome to another episode on the TA22 Celica, where today I'll be working on the interior. In the previous episode, I got the tail lights, headlights, bumpers, chrome all fitted. The exterior is all done, so now all the work is focused on getting the interior fixed and finished, and hopefully the car will be ready for inspection. If it passes the inspection, I'll be able to register it and drive it on the road. Now the door switches for the dome lights are functional, but I've got new ones and they look a lot better, so I figure I'll replace them, give it a few more years before I have to worry about that. Now I've got the dome light in place temporarily. You can see that it's lit, and when I press the door switch, the light goes off. So I'm just going to sort out the parcel shelf next in order to get the right shape, because the edge is tucked right underneath. I laid some paper down on the glass and followed the curve of the lower edge. Got this curve made the template sheets on the end long enough that they go to the backrest of the seat. I then traced out that shape onto a piece of masonite, and now I have to cut it out. It's probably not 100% accurate, so I might need to do some trimming to get it to fit, but at least it'll be a solid starting point. Well, it's all marked out and ready to cut. Let's get onto it. Now just a slide in for a test fit and see how close we got. That side's in. This one's out a little bit. That's pretty close though.
Later.
Yep, so a bit of trimming, now it fits. So what I'm going to do next is open the boot and from underneath apply some spray paint to all the holes in the parcel shelf where the seatbelt bolts and clips go to hold the parcel shelf in place. Then I can drill those out, put on the carpet, then get the soldering iron, melt through the carpet so there's nice sealed edges on all those holes, and then fit it to the car. So I've taken the shelf out. You can see the paint marks that I've made. It's a matter of now drilling them out to the correct size. This is supposedly a marine grade carpet with some plasticky thin foam backing. Let's roll this out. Put some contact adhesive on there and on here. Wait for it to go tacky. Stick them together. Cut out. Just roughly marking out where I need to get the adhesive. It's using this high strength 3M spray adhesive. Should do the trick. Now carefully cut around with a blade knife. I think that turned out pretty well for a first time effort. Soldering iron for nice neat holes. going to leave the back alone for a bit, move to the front. What I've got to do here is take this piece of carpet off the dash and find out if A, it's actually in good condition, highly unlikely it's slightly cracked, or is it really cracked. Held on with some staples, it looks like, so make my way around and start popping them off and try and get it peeled apart. Oh dear. Oh. Well, that looks like some kind of fiberglassing effort. Yeah. I think I got my work cut out for me yet again. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so plan of attack from here is remove the steering wheel, drop the steering column, get the instrument cluster out, get the whole dash out, and see if I can do something about fixing this. Don't take the nut off completely so the steering wheel doesn't let go and smash into your face. Now that we've got it loose, save that from going missing. Alright, so that's the dash cover and the instrument cluster removed. This needs some work, and this here, I think I need to take the gauges out, clean the faces, and do something about this old wood grain finish. It's a bit worn off nearby the speedo there. Might just do like a black to sort of make it blend in, because, you know, I can't really restore that. Now that'll need a good clean front and back before I do some masking, and then change the colour of the front with some vinyl dye. Later. So the instrument cluster housing is all washed, and now I'm just leaving it to dry. Next I'm going to use this plastic Scratch X polish to try and bring up the gauge faces a little bit neater and cleaner. The yellow pad didn't want to hang on to the polisher anymore, so I grabbed one of the purple ones I used for the body. Way too much. Perfect. Getting harder and harder to find clean microfiber cloths. That's pretty good. The conical shape of the lens on the tacho and the speedo means I've got to be a bit more careful. Also, they're not in as good condition as the other gauges, so I've got to take my time on these. Much better, room for improvement. Couple of light marks left. I'll see if I can get those knocked out. Nice. Well, I was at a point where I was clearing out space on this table, but, you know, in typical fashion, I've gone in reverse and made a bigger mess. The gauge cluster, I went ahead and painted it like I said, but you may notice there's a bit of masking. I ended up going over that whole thing and peeling off all of the wood grain stuff, which was simply held on with a bit of adhesive. I cleaned that off and the pattern underneath didn't look too bad, so I decided instead of painting over it, I would just keep it. And it's a rough sort of gunmetal finish. I don't mind it too much, to be honest. I do need to go over the faces of the rings with some silver to highlight those. But other than that, this is pretty good. The insets are now covered with the vinyl dye, so they're blackened and not scratched up and marred. It's a matter of getting all this peeled off, get the gauges refitted, and then make up a new plate to cover where the radio belongs. Now I did upgrade all the lighting in these gauges. So what I've done is use these LEDs. There's a nice broad connector there, it makes good contact with the bulb holder. And it gives a nice even spread of light. I have used another type, something like these. They are quite bright, but the only contact they make is with these thin little wires, and they can be a bit tricky. Another thing is these lights cause hot spots, whereas the one I've put in these gauges actually have a nice even spread of light, so it doesn't actually have darker spots on the gauge, it's actually well lit. You can find those bulbs typically on eBay or maybe Amazon, and they're usually available in packs of 10. It's about $10, $12 Australian for those, so not too expensive either. I am running low on usable workspace, but I'm just managing the best I can with what I've got. As I start reassembling this stuff, I'm going to create more space. Doesn't help now. Just make sure they're sitting straight before tightening them all the way up. Get that vent fitted back in. Very nice. Now I'm just going to block off the hole where the radio is supposed to live. I've made up a metal plate. It's a matter of just fitting that up and attaching the thumb screws that I bought. So these little metal guys here, I'm going to feed in from the front. So there we go, metal plate installed. Yeah, not too bad. And just to finish it off, my wife has a vinyl cutter and has made me a Celica logo vinyl sticker. I'll apply it to that plate. It should look okay. And there we have it. I actually think that looks really good. And while making that Celica label, I also got her to make me another label to stick on the air filter. I just used Google Translate to get it to say Celica power, something. It might well say slimy pork chop, I've got no idea. It's also got the little TEQ or Toyota logo. Let's give that a bit of a clean. Well, another little task to take care of is the passenger vent normally has a lever here, so you can adjust the direction of the vent. It's gone and broken, so I'm going to take a pick like this, cut the end off, cut it off here, leave this little knurled section, round the end off, heat it up, push it into the plastic, and that'll act as the new handle to change direction of the air. And on a similar vein, the indicator stalk has the end missing. I think they're usually made out of plastic and deteriorate over the years and just break and fall away. So what I did is I took a center punch and bored out the hole to suit the indicator stalk, cut off the end, rounded it, painted it, and I'll just knock that on and that'll become the new end to the indicator stalk. And seeing as I've already got it done, I'm just going to fit it now. Use the flap disc to round out the end. So here it is, paint's still wet, so I'm not going to touch it, but I do have the ability to now move these louvers instead of them just sort of floating in space doing whatever they want. So while the dash and instrument cluster's still out of the car, I think I'm going to tackle the brake and clutch pedal bushes, stop that slop like that. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see too much, but all the way up here is a bolt, and there should be some bushes on that, and I would say they're totally missing. The brake pedal is not as bad, but it shouldn't be like that, so see how we go. Okay, well, that's the clutch pedal out. There are bushes in here. Taken that slide pin out. The bushes appear to be okay, I guess. Not really sure. I'll try the new ones and see if it makes a difference. Then I'll have to repeat the same thing for the brake pedal.
Later.
All in all, that was successful. So what happened was I replaced the bushes, re-tightened up the bolts, and now the clutch pedal isn't flopping around everywhere. Much better. So I'm getting quite distracted by a few little jobs. I need to concentrate and tackle a couple of the big ones that are holding me up from everything else. One of those is the hood liner. I'm going to have to make my own hood liner bows out of some metal rod that I got from a hardware store because finding some factory ones seems to be impossible. And this rod here is 6.3 millimeters and the factory rods measure 5. That's not too much of a concern. And Cam from the Builder Room on YouTube, who also builds Celicas, has kindly traced out the exact dimensions of the roof bows that I need to make. So all I need to do is lay the rod down on this template traced out on paper, make the bends using a hammer and vise, and then once they're done I can get on to starting to stitch up the fabric. He's traced out each individual rod. The front 3 are the same. The very rear one is a slightly shorter because the roof line actually starts to taper in. So what I'm going to do is get the straight rod here, cut off more than I need, make the bends. So after a bit of work in the vise, there are the ends bent. Now they are a bit longer than they need to be. So all I need to do is just mark where the ends should be, make another cut on all of these, then they'll be ready to attempt fitment of the little plastic end lugs. Here we are, a homemade set of headliner roof bows for a TA22 Celica. Now I've just switched out to a flap disc, take all of the sharp burrs off the ends here and test fit the ends, and if I need to grind them down further to make them fit, then that's what I'll do. Now I've got this piece of velour fabric which I'm going to try and attempt to make a headliner out of. I'm not going to show you because I'm not exactly a wizard with a sewing machine and it's going to be painful to watch. So I'll be back in a sec once I've hopefully made something that will fit and doesn't look like, well, measuring about 7 times, cutting 3 times, sewing 6 times. eventually got to the point where something that resembles a headliner is there. There's obviously more work to do here, but yeah, the pockets ended up taking those hood liner bows quite well. It's a matter of just trimming off the excess, get the sun visors fitted, get the tension set on each bow, tucking in all the edges, and then setting up the trim to hold it all in place. And that's another job ticked off the list. Well, we're not there yet. These little plastic ends are what hold it into the roof. So it's one large job, half done. Well, I would have had a fair bit more difficulty if it wasn't for Cam from the build room supplying me that drawing of those roof bows so I could manufacture my own. There's a lot more work to go on that headliner, but I am going to finish this episode here, give myself a bit of a break, regroup, think about my next step forward to make sure that gets fitted in okay. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.